welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We're happy to have you here on Phase2 podcast with Dan Sandrin, Eric Sandrin, otherwise known as the Bad Boys of Korea.
And obviously everybody knows who you are, so you don't have to introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Ben, and I'm thrilled to be here with you two. Let's jump right in. Let me ask you some questions.
He's prepared. That was pretty good.
That was nice.
He's got a really good radio voice.
We should have him maybe be a recurring guest, like weekly, so he could introduce the podcast.
That's a big commitment.
Hey, Ben, don't feel special. We've offered everybody that gig. We've yet to have a recurring guest.
It's an open invitation.
Open invitation for sure.
You don't want to make it through the first 5 minutes, see how it goes before you offer that.
I got a good feeling about this one.
Nope, you know what? I'm ready to put the bank on this.
You got an honest face.
No, so look, man, really thankful that you gave us some time, that you took some time out of your busy schedule to come over here and just bullshit and have a beer with us. But thanks for coming on, man.
Right, dude, it's my pleasure.
How was the traffic?
This for a long time.
Was it heavy traffic jam getting down from your spaceship?
There it is.
Let him know what Ben's doing.
How much time did you spend on that line before?
Wait, now are you talking about the spaceship where he was putting our Korean stars like in clamps, or are you talking about when he was farming donuts on the moon?
Damn, are you like typecast for only space-related roles now?
At this. I like it. I like where this is going.
Guys, for our listeners out there in Omaha, our buddy Ben is like, you're a blossoming movie star now. Like everywhere I look, I see he was on a Dunkin' Donuts commercial, which wasn't just a commercial. It was like a whole movie, basically, where he's on Mars farming potatoes to make donuts out of potatoes.
Right.
It's
they actually made a movie based on that commercial called the Mars.
Were you pissed when they cast Matt Damon to play you? It's like they could have got a,
I respect the man.
What?
Yeah.
Brad Pitt was busy. And then in probably gonna be, I would predict, this guy, everything he touches is gold. Just came out on Netflix. It's called Sungniho. What's it called in English?
Space Sweepers.
Space Sweepers. Ben, I just watched it because the only reason I turned it on was because I heard you were in it. And then I see you just sunning the main character who's like one of the biggest stars in Korea. Pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, Song Joong-gi. He was fun. He's fun to work with.
He's kind of a big deal, from what I understand.
I've been told that.
Is there a bigger deal? Ben.
But he was actually incredibly down to earth, though, to be honest with you guys. After shooting on that set, we kicked it with some beers and some chips, just like this,
really?
in a little back room for a couple hours. He speaks English really well.
Well, the thing is, and that was the thing. It was like, should we have him on the podcast? Should we have you on the podcast? Right. And then I was like, dude, I think you have the higher upside.
And to be honest, I disagreed.
Eric was like, Ben, I don't know.
This sort of typifies the relationship I have with both of you.
Yeah,
you're always bringing me up. You bring me back down to earth.
There you go.
You know,
good cop, bad cop, baby.
It's like if you're always in outer space, hanging out with these like superstars, making donuts. You know, like I mean, you're also riding around in a space type machine for a video game, also.
I'm losing you here.
Yo, dude, that commercial was huge.
Yeah, you're talking about...
Exactly.
You had like some barbarian helmet on.
Yeah. You're talking about the 1990 Hyundai Galloper that was painted up with...
but also somehow outer space related.
It was pretty
Mad
trippy.
Maxy.
It was pretty,
futuristic. Not so much space, unless like the surface of Mars.
I think that's actually in space.
It was... Well, if you're on Mars, you're not in space. We're splitting hairs here. Ben, tell us about what you've been up to, because it's always something crazy. I didn't even know you're doing this. Not like you have any responsibility to keep me updated, but here we are.
It's my bad, bro. It's my bad. Yeah, we actually filmed Sungniho 2019, so it's been a minute.
Really?
Yeah. Finished up going into Christmas of 2019, and then it was slated to come out last summer in theaters, but COVID. So it's been pushed back quite a bit. So these days, there's another one of those. It's not a space commercial.
Can you talk about it? Do you have non-disclosure?
No, there's already been a trailer released.
Okay.
So
non-outer space.
It's a Hyundai commercial for the new Ioniq, the electric car. But it's going to be like a 7-8 minute movie. So it's a fun role.
I remember seeing some storyboards and some things related, I believe, at some time.
That's right.
So
excited, man.
the last time I saw Ben in person was when we were getting drunk and barbecuing at the beach on the East Coast in Yangyang. But since then,
That's not true, man. I saw you at a wedding after that, but yeah, that's the last time we really hung out.
That's right. But that's the really time we had beers and hung out for.
That's true.
But since then, it's funny because I saw you in a coffee commercial. I saw you on a public service announcement on the KTX,
which I didn't even know where it was playing, but yeah.
And now I've seen you on like one of the biggest Netflix things in Korea. So
And now he's right next to you.
and I was like, that's
amazing.
I got goosebumps. I can't believe it.
No, it's always
I'm excited, man. It's like this is released in 81 countries, so it's my role is pretty small, but you never know where these things can go. So.
That's dope. So maybe for our listeners, you could like kind of bring us back, because like if you're looking at what you do, like you do so many different things out here in Korea, and a lot of people might be wondering, how the fuck did you do all this shit? Like not being a Korean citizen, just coming out here. I mean, just can you kind of like give us a story like on the background and like what brought you here, and then how you got your start in all these different things like modeling, acting. I mean, you're doing everything. It's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I came here in 2011 and came here for, I guess you could say, philosophical reasons originally. Just
care to expand on that?
Sure, if you want me to, man. I don't know how much time you got.
I mean,
30 seconds. I'll give you 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
What philosophical reasons?
So, coming out of kind of a background in theology and Christianity, really wanted to explore what religion and thinking and culture all looked like. What did Christianity look like in Asia compared to the U.S.? That's really what brought me to Korea. So came here as an English teacher in 2011. Taught 1 year of high school English, and
2011, geez.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Thought I'd be here for 1 or 2 years, as most people.
Me too.
Right.
16 years in.
Yeah. But no, the second year just sent out my resume to a bunch of universities, because universities, as an English teacher, allow you a really flexible schedule. 4 months paid vacation, and then you don't have a strenuous teaching schedule, so you can really get out and do a lot of other things. So that was kind of the foundation. Getting that my second year here allowed me to start exploring and doing other things. The modeling, acting gig, that started a few years ago, kind of randomly. Playing basketball on base, actually, and just parked my bike. Came out, hopped on the bike, and there was a lady from a modeling agency next to me. She's like, "Hey, you're relatively handsome. Do you want to do some modeling?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So
You're like I'm relatively lukewarm on the idea, but
I was a little skeptical. Didn't know where it could lead to.
Wait, was that the one girl that Eric knows? She's European?
Yulia.
And not Yulia.
Oh.
Somebody else?
I don't know. The one girl that Eric knows? Eric?
No, the one when you guys worked on like a Samsung project together, and there was the model agency lady.
that was Yulia.
That wasn't Yulia on base?
No.
That was one that she used to date Kim Sung-yeon. Or
I don't want to put his business out there, but yeah.
apparently they knew each other.
Yeah. No, it was a much smaller one at first, but yeah, and then I had a friend who was a model actress here in Korea, who she basically introduced me to a bunch of different modeling agencies, and that's when I decided to kind of go for it and see what happens, and made a little portfolio, sent it out, and turns out there's a bit of a market here for tall white guys in Korea.
Wait, you're tall?
Well, sorry.
Come on,
Why would you guys, man?
Bro, like now it's like
I know I haven't learned yet. My bad. Medium height white guys.
We've had this conversation.
We have had this conversation.
So wait, but how did that lead to acting?
Yeah, so I mean the modeling is kind of lifestyle acting is what they call it. So you're cast for basic roles, a dad, a businessman, whatever, for these commercials, and then a couple of agencies that I was listed with, they also do like supporting roles for movies and dramas and things like that. So for this actual movie, Sung Lee Ho, was just an audition. So I went in, auditioned against, I don't know exactly. I've been told there were a lot, and they just give you a little script and see what you got. And then, and then got the role from that. So.
And you had no prior acting experience?
Not technically. If you count a 45-minute movie that we produced in college about stealing milk.
We count that.
Okay,
count that.
then yeah, I've got acting experience.
We're very generous on that.
Which ironically, my role in that movie was taken from a Matt Damon role as well. I guess there's a theme here.
There is a thing.
Yeah.
Wait, even in college, you were in outer space? You were stealing
in
outer
college,
space
you was
milk?
not there.
Very close. Yeah.
Space milk.
Space milk.
Space
That
milk.
would have been
I
a
get
good twist. No, we did a spoof off of Ocean's 11. So we instead of stealing money, we decided we'd steal milk from our school cafeteria.
it. 11 cartons.
8 crates per player, I believe was the line. 8
crates per
crates
player?
of milk per player.
No, what are we talking about? We talking about whole? We talking about 2%?
Oh man, we had it all, bro.
What were the reviews on that movie?
We wanted all the milk.
Is there anywhere we can find this movie?
There's a YouTube link, which I'd be happy to pass on to you guys if you.
Why not?
I think there's at least 212 views right now.
All right, so hold on.
huge.
So hold on. Let me ask you a question
Yeah, go ahead.
relating to this specifically. Is it harder to find the link for that movie or our podcast? Now be honest.
That's an excellent question. We could do a little test right now if you want. Just see if you guys can find that movie.
Well, I think with our podcast, what we wanted to do is make it kind of like a speakeasy.
Oh, I like this.
Dude, if you know where it is,
like where it's
it's not cool.
It's not exclusive.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Are you talking about an invite-only podcast?
Ooh.
Is that what you're referring to?
I would like to. This whole Clubhouse thing is crazy. And you're a member of Clubhouse?
I am not.
Hey, Ben, welcome to the club.
You're a member of our Clubhouse.
Appreciate that, E.
These whole club things, like now that Clubhouse is blowing up and it's been in the news lately with Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg.
Are they in Clubhouse? I don't know about this.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. All right.
So there's all this new stuff for social media. Just when you thought there's nothing that Facebook and Instagram didn't cover, and there's TikTok and Facebook's been doing all that stuff lately or in the future. But yeah, there's Clubhouse. It's like where it's invite only, and you can't get canceled because it's all voice and there's no recording function. So you can get on there and say all kinds of wild shit and conspiracy theories or whatever, and no one can ever like call you on it because it never.
So Danny just told us that he went into some Clubhouse room where it was only moaning. And apparently there was a Venmo.
Other Danny, yeah.
And there was a Venmo link where like if you had the best moan, then you could actually like exchange.
Right. I don't know how you quantify best moan, but
Yeah.
Oh, there's a way.
is there? Is it length? Is it variation in moaning
We're still talking
frequency?
about moaning.
It's girth of the moan.
It's the girth of the moan.
It's the length and girth multiplied by circumference of the moan.
A spherical moan. But yeah, it's interesting because it's like they can find more ways for you to be on your phone all the time. But this is like the new thing. And I remember a long time ago when me and Eric were traveling a lot, like just for fun after the season, after we get done with basketball season, there was this thing, Soho Club. I don't know if you're familiar with Soho Club, but it was like where all the cool parties were going on in New York and LA, and like I was in New York one time and everyone was going to Soho Club, and I was like, yeah, I'll just meet you there. They're like, oh, no, you can't go unless you're like a member of these clubs. And they're like in London and all these cool places. And I was like, okay, well, how much is the membership? I like to go have fun. And they were like, oh, no, it's invite only. So it's like this whole exclusive. And then it made me want it more. I was like, well, how are you getting in? Well, a friend invited me and blah, blah, blah. Or I'm a guest.
And I was wondering where that $300,000 went to. Wait, you're in New York again?
Worth it. No.
Yeah, the attention currency.
Yeah.
I do wonder where that's going to go. But like, I just got a new iPhone. And
Congratulations.
Thank you. I've finally moved up from the 6 after all these years. They have new like controls or apps on there now to monitor how much time you spend on stuff, and I think that's the direction a lot of this stuff is going to go. Where
Get you off your phone?
yeah, it's self-imposed limits on it for your health and sanity.
Would you see the whole thing about Apple and Zuckerberg like kind of going at it a little bit in
No,
the
I didn't.
media? So like Facebook, they're trying to steal all your information, keep you on your phones more, and sell you as a product.
Right.
And
No.
and Apple was basically,
Dark secrets.
even though Apple, like, where would they be without all these apps, with all these, Tinder and all this kind of stuff to keep you on your phone? But they were basically saying like they didn't like Apple's privacy policy and some of the controls they're putting on their new phones. And then he said, well, look, the people are consumers, not products, and like, blah, they took the higher road. So it's kind of like everyone's like, yeah, Apple's for the people. Right. So
Clearly, Apple's for the people.
I mean, I agree.
I mean, they're donating products and making them reasonably priced all over the world. Is that right?
How much did you pay for your new phone?
Yeah. You don't want to know.
No,
I think that was the original idea, that like the Apple products are gonna be the same price all over the world. And I think when they first started, sending it out, that's how it was. But now
they are
the prices are not the same worldwide.
Yeah, you pay a lot more. I paid about $300 more for this phone here than I would have in the States.
Well, if you only paid $300, you got a good deal on it.
$300 more.
Let's talk a little bit about sports, because obviously, like most of the people that we have on our show, we met through some kind of sports. It's either like sports or drinking. Where was Ben? Did we meet him through basketball first or through drinking first? It's all fuzzy.
Through basketball.
Yeah, it wasn't badminton.
Could have been.
It was basketball.
No, we been through basketball.
Yeah,
because like you remember our buddy Derek that you introduced me to actually a long time ago.
Basketball guy,
the guy that used to run the USO, I think, on
Caracas
on Yongsan. Yeah, him and Russ used to run that team, and they used to compete in a lot of the tournaments. And then they used to have a run that they would do on base, I think every Sunday.
Yep.
And I think that's where we met.
Yeah, you and I met first before I guess you were out of the country at the time. But yeah, man, those runs were good. I miss them so much.
So good.
Where are you playing now?
I am not.
Same.
Yeah.
No, actually, so Ben.
Apparently, he's playing behind my back.
I'm playing.
He's got special access though.
Yeah.
I went.
Yeah. He's gonna tell you. About it.
I went to your university the other day, right? After you told me, he's like lives right down the street from where I live now, right? Up at Seogyeongdae, is that right?
Yeah.
Right? And it's fucking beautiful. It's up on the mountain. I went to his office. Amazing, by the way. And like outside the office, you can see Bukhansan. Like it's fucking dope. It's on the top of this huge hill, right? And I went there and I was like, dude, you got this dope office. And then we went down there. There's courts out and everything. And I was like, okay. And it turned out the next day you were in Songdo, or you were out.
So I'm like, let me know, man. We should hoop up here sometime. Okay, continue.
But you weren't there that day, right? So I would have called you, but you weren't there, right? Because you were out of the city. So
that's true.
I would have called you because your office was right there. You could actually saw us playing, right? So me and a couple of my really good friends went up to your university. And
I haven't paid the membership fee yet.
He didn't invite me either. So
and we went up and hooped up there. But then we got kicked out because the security guard said we couldn't play on the.
Man, you need an actual Seogyeong member with the badge who can vouch for you, bro.
It's a different kind of clubhouse.
Next time you want to just leave your badge.
There it is.
No, it was fun. It was dope. It was super cool to see all these kids and everyone just out there just playing, especially in this time when it's really hard to find places to play.
Yeah.
And then we got kicked out, and then we went to another university, also got kicked out, and then we went to a public park that wasn't taped off.
What were you doing that kept resulting in getting kicked out? May I inquire?
I think we were just there.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just fighting everybody. Just getting in fights with little kids.
Might have been the beers. Drunk basketball's fun.
Drunk basketball is fun.
Yeah. Nah, but it's tough. Like your university's dope. I never had been up there, and then the other night when we went up there and we were just hanging out in your office, we went down the street. There's it's a really cool neighborhood up there. It's like a beautiful view. You can see the mountains, and the neighborhood's kind of old. It's kind of like old school. So we went to one of the old classic chicken houses that still got kind of the theme,
those kind of places.
The theme, the Bavarian theme.
It's nice, man. And as a foreigner, living in Korea, you usually live in Itaewon, in that area. So I like being outside of it.
Takes real Korea.
Yeah, a little bit real Korea.
No, it's cool.
When people ask me what I miss about the States, man, I don't miss much, but quality basketball is something I miss. It's
LA Fitness runs.
LA Fitness runs.
24.
Never been there.
Shit, in the States,
24-hour fitness.
But
in the States, pickup is anywhere, right?
Literally pretty much any town in America, you can find a hoop with some halfway decent basketball.
Because think about this, even after they shut down the base runs, we used to have to go all the way down to Osan, which for our viewers in Cleveland,
we're gonna
understand that Seoul and Osan is about an hour and a half drive.
Yeah, something like that. Depending on which part of Seoul you're coming from.
Right. So who in the States would drive an hour for a pickup run?
Yeah, man.
Nobody.
But you know what's killing me about not being able to get on Osan is they have Popeyes in Korea is shutting down, but the Popeyes on base in Osan has the new chicken sandwich, man. Which is
that's it. So that's what you miss,
dude. I've been waiting for that chicken sandwich to come out on Popeyes on base because it's already out in the States. Finally comes to Korea, and we're in the midst of a pandemic.
Yeah,
and can't get on there.
And you can't order a delivery, huh?
I can't. I would have to go down to Osan. So Osan, it's always been like a 2-for-1. You go down there, you play hoops, you go eat something delicious, something that you miss from home, whether it's Chili's or Popeyes or whatever. Then you usually hit the commissary, get some cheap beer, and snacks, and then head on your way, or maybe have a bite in the Ville off base or something like that afterwards.
Dustin Kearns and I used to stop over at the Goodwill of the base as well. I forget what it was called. You can shop for shoes that actually fit you,
but it's not open all the time. It's only open, I think, on the weekends.
It's only on Sundays. Right. That's when we used to play.
That's true. Yeah. Good times on the base. Well, hey, you know what? Now that we're talking about sports and all this stuff, I'd like to transition
I'm a little worried
into
about this part.
a little section I like to call Know Your City.
Is it?
Now, so you are Cleveland? Like Cleveland?
No. I'm from Berea, technically.
Where the fuck is that?
Oh, Berea is beautiful this time of year.
Berea is beautiful this time of year.
The Browns really pop. The Browns really pop.
It's the Browns and the Oranges.
The Grays really pop.
You talking about the Cleveland Browns?
I am talking about the Cleveland Browns. That's right. Berea is the home of the Cleveland Browns officially.
No,
I kid you not. The training facilities are in Berea, about a 10-minute drive from my house. And here's a little piece of Ben Spink trivia for you.
Oh.
When I was in 7th grade, I attended a birthday party at the Cleveland Browns training facility.
You had a friend.
They threw you a
dad
birthday.
Was a football player.
They threw me a birthday. Yeah, that's right. I had a friend whose dad was a tight ends coach, I believe. Yeah. That was right after it was built.
Interesting information, Ben. Thank you very much. Moving right.
Land the plane, Ben. Land the plane.
So we're gonna dive straight into some Cleveland trivia.
Oh man!
All right.
This is not gonna go well.
Let's just go off the top. Do you know what the nickname of Cleveland is?
The Mistake by the Lake.
That's one of them.
Yeah, that is the most well-known one. Unfortunately, do you know
what lake is that?
It is Lake Erie. And do you want to know why it's called the Mistake by the Lake?
Inform us, Ben.
Well, among many reasons, but one of them was in 1976, I believe it was one of those years. The Cuyahoga River, which flows into the city of Cleveland,
of course, I'm familiar,
actually caught on fire.
I have heard about that.
The river caught on fire,
and that's a clean river.
And if you're wondering how water can catch on fire. The answer is it wasn't water. It was that much pollutants of oil.
And what is that, like a auto city? What is Cleveland?
It used to be a steel town back in its heyday, along with Pittsburgh and Detroit and all the other northeast towns along the Great Lakes. But they call it's part of the Rust Belt now, because a lot of jobs were lost and the manufacturing is,
a lot of interesting information out there.
we got to get back to Eve's quiz.
The quiz.
A lot of interesting information.
All right, Hemi, what you got? What are the other nicknames that I don't know about?
Well, I mean, obviously, the land.
The land, sure.
That's a newer one.
More of a recent one, right?
LeBron as the king, kind of. Yeah, you did kind of make that. Yeah,
we call it the Forest City.
Oh, do we?
We do.
Who calls it the Forest City?
The proverbial we.
Okay.
All right. So I'm not sure if you knew this, but Cleveland is called the home of rock and roll.
It is the home of
rock and roll Hall of Fame.
Right, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I did.
Very
know that
nice.
One.
Beautiful structure right by the lake that I've never visited once.
But I'm not sure if you knew this, that Cleveland was actually the host to the first rock and roll concert in U.S. history.
I did not know that.
Who was that? Buddy Holly?
He says.
The year was
before Buddy Holly.
The year was 1952.
Oh, 1952.
That sounds Buddy Holly-ish.
Ben Spink, do you know what the name of this concert was and who the headlining act was?
Oh, man, I didn't even know this concert existed. The name of the concert.
And you call yourself a Cleveland.
The name of the concert. The first, I mean, it wouldn't have been called rock and roll because it was the first one. So
obviously not.
Before the name existed.
Right. You're right.
So we're...
I'll give you a hint.
All right.
Think Back to the Future.
Oh.
I got it. I already got it.
The DeLorean lands.
Oh, how'd you? Yes,
that's it right there.
No,
wait, can I guess before Ben? Ben obviously doesn't. Is it Chuck Berry?
It's not Chuck Berry.
How is that Back to the Future if it's not Chuck Berry?
I'm talking about the name of the ball.
The name of the ball.
The name of the first concert in rock and roll history was called the Moondog Coronation Ball.
Moondog, which is the mascot of the Cleveland Cavaliers, by the way.
1952, Cleveland Arena.
Ooh,
right? Headlining act were Paul Williams and the Hucklebuckers. along with Tony Grimes and the Rockin' Highlanders.
I'm familiar.
Not sure if you guys
Bro,
know
is this a trivia podcast? Y'all didn't tell me that.
We need to have some events. Now Eric's going off and just bragging about his knowledge that he studied. I did my homework. Okay, Eric, next question.
I want to ask you another question. Do you know who the most famous chef, Italian chef from Cleveland is?
Man, I don't even know the name of the most famous Italian chef.
In America? He also is probably the most famous Italian chef in American history.
Emerald?
No.
Pavarotti.
Pavarotti was a singer.
Marmalade.
You're done. Are you making Italian sound?
Scooby-Dooby.
Perhaps you've heard of a chef by the name of
Boyardee?
Boyardee.
Are you serious?
Boyardee.
The chef?
Not born in Cleveland, right? Immigrated through New York. Got his stint at a couple restaurants there in New York City. Obviously.
Cut his teeth.
Personally catered for Woodrow Wilson.
Oh, Woodrow Wilson.
And then opened his first restaurant.
Italian president.
First Italian restaurant in 1926 in Cleveland.
Is it called Bucci's?
It was not. Would you like to know the name? Do you know the name?
No, I obviously do not. I thought it was Bucci's, but you know.
It's called the Italian Garden.
Oh, which later became the Olive Garden.
How dare you talk shit on the name of Chef Boyardee? The street where his restaurant was on, maybe you'll know this, being from Cleveland, East 9th and Woodland Avenue.
Know exactly where that is.
Yeah. That's where he made his start.
Okay.
Mr. Ettore Boiardi.
Oh, Boyardee. That's nice.
That's
You have
good
a nice
pronunciation.
flavor.
Thank you. Chef Boyardee.
Yeah.
American.
Well, that's right downtown.
Right downtown.
Yeah.
All right. Also, another quick one. I'm not sure if you knew this. The creators of Superman are from Cleveland.
Ooh.
A Mr. Jerry Siegel and a Mr. Joe Shuster,
Joe Shuster.
who created the superhero at Mr. Siegel's home in Cleveland.
So Superman is from Cleveland.
Smallville is Cleveland.
Right?
Smallville. That's about right.
What high school did the creators of Superman go to?
What high school?
I'll wait.
You've been waiting a long time. I like how he said this was another quick one. There hasn't been one quick question.
Shaker Heights. That's
Incorrect.
Bellevue.
Also incorrect. I want to say you're getting warmer.
I don't think so. Go ahead.
They went to Glenville High
Oh,
School.
Glenville. All right. We played them in football one year.
How'd you guys do?
We lost. We actually played them twice.
I mean, how could you guys beat the high school Superman?
That's a fair point. The odds were stacked against us, I think.
One more little fact.
All right.
This is the most excruciating quiz ever. Ben, get one right. Eric, ask a fucking easier question. Jesus Christ.
I got the mistake.
The first
of the leg
animal.
right.
What was the name of the first animal pet in Cleveland? What? First goldfish.
Not the type of animal, the pet's name.
There's a famous electrical engineer from
Oh God! Just can we stop it? Can we stop it?
So what? You don't want me to finish with my quiz?
No, but come
Not
on.
if it's that question. Not if it's that question.
You got to tell us who it is, though.
All right, just tell us who it
His
is.
name is Charles Brush.
I'm Charles Brush.
We have no idea what he created.
He created the arc light, the precursor to
I don't even know what arc light is.
It's a light. It goes like this.
Okay, Ben. So we haven't confirmed where you're from, whether you're really from Cleveland, but
sounds like you don't really know that much about Cleveland.
Eric, and I know you must have done a lot of research for this quiz. Let's talk about the quiz.
Yeah.
This is beyond Wikipedia. This is beyond Wikipedia because Wikipedia only puts shit that people care about. Where did you get all these obscure facts?
Yes.
Charles Brush, right? Created Cleveland was the first. I'm not sure if you knew this.
The crickets are out.
Cleveland was the first publicly lit space to be lit by electricity.
Ooh.
Thanks to Charles Brush, not Thomas Edison, who also, before Broadway was lit by electricity, his arc lights lit New York.
Well, Cleveland was kind of paving the way, lighting the way.
There you go.
For Broadway.
There you go. So his company later became a very large, well-known electric company,
General Electric.
which is also based in Cleveland.
GE.
So you do know something.
That's right. That's right.
The Cleveland Browns have exactly how many national championships?
Well, by some counts, it's 11. By others, it would be 6. But they have 0 Super Bowls, unfortunately. In fact, 0 Super Bowl appearances.
The actual championships is 8.
Oh, 8.
Right.
It's the average between 11 and 6.
Okay.
Is this more or less than the sum amount of championships of all Cleveland sports?
Oh, that is a solid question. All right, what
They've been on
sports?
fire though lately.
What sports are included in that? Are we talking about the major 4, or are we going beyond like to
talking about-
MMA?
We're talking about MMA. We're talking about pro sports franchises in the city of
MMA is
Cleveland.
tough because
we're
it's
talking
individual.
about
It
the
is
Indians.
individual,
We're talking
yeah.
about the Cavaliers. Are there any other pro sports in Cleveland?
There used to be a hockey team that's gone now in the IHL, the International Hockey League, called the Lumberjacks.
Ooh.
They're gone. There's a soccer team called the Cleveland Crunch, which I don't know if it still exists. I'm going to say less. I'm going to say that's more. 8 is more than the sum total of the
That would be correct.
Yeah.
But we've been on fire though, as far as like I say we.
I appreciate that, Dan. I appreciate that a lot.
The Indians, Cavaliers.
The Indians have had 0 championships since 1948.
They were close.
Did we just win it?
No, they didn't. They,
it was the Cubs.
They lost
Oh,
in
my
Game
bad.
7, extra innings. It was a hell of a game,
Yeah, that's
but-
right. My dad was happy about that.
Yeah, I was.
Chicago.
But they've been good. The Cavs,
Cavs, come on.
2016. Yeah. And we think 2022 will be a Cleveland Browns NFL Super Bowl. So, I mean, I think we're
What do you think about the Cavs though?
the current Cleveland Cavaliers.
Do you think they just need to fucking blow it up, or do you think they can do something with that core?
You know, originally I just thought it was all about LeBron, and Dan Gilbert is a disaster. But I've been watching a few games this year, and
Sexton.
they got that backcourt.
fifth leading scorer in the league.
Do you know what they call the backcourt of the Cavs?
I do not.
Sexton?
Sexland. Darius Garland and Colin Sexton.
I think it's more Sexton dominated. though.
Before we veer off course, would you guys like?
We're going back to the quiz.
Who was the first general contractor in the
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, you know that? Just kidding. Quiz is over.
Yeah, I don't know about the Cavs, man. I think they're going to kind of build some small supporting pieces, and then LeBron's going to make his comeback again for the 3rd time. And
You think so? He's coming back to Cleveland.
he's going to retire in Cleveland
No,
for
I don't
sure,
think so.
man.
I don't
the
think
last
so.
year of his contract.
I think he just loves the LA life and just being in the mix of it.
He does, but he's going to retire in Cleveland. He's going to do at least a season there at the end.
I'll put a bet on that. He's
All
going
right.
to play for another 20 years. So I
Yeah,
don't
I
know if
know,
we'll remember this. This is the evidence for the bet. Like if we
Okay.
ever will refer to this podcast.
All right.
I bet he doesn't retire in Cleveland.
What are we putting on it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, we'll shake on that bet.
Okay.
And then we can decide on the stakes.
The stakes later.
You decide on the stakes. $1 billion bajillion.
A house on Millionaires Row in Cleveland.
Well, you can get a house in
I
Cleveland for
think-
like $6,000.
Bro, that row is called 100,000 Air Row in Cleveland. Yeah. That's as high as we get.
No, I mean I was like diving into like some of the stuff on Cleveland. It's a pretty interesting city. Like for a long time they had like I think it was like one of the the fastest growing cities in the United States. Like it's a sports town, like rock and roll. It's like I've actually never been there, but like reading about it made me really want to
people.
go. Because
Yeah.
I mean like the way they are with sports. Like one of our my dad's best friend, may rest in peace.
Yeah.
He was a diehard Cleveland. I mean he grew up in Cleveland.
He was in like an Italian gang
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah.
He grew up in the Italian area. He was in their gang.
Yeah, the 70s were crazy, a crazy time. The mafia dominated era, and
If we go back to Cleveland, though, I'd like to go with. We need to go with the native.
it's always better. yeah.
Where are we going? Okay, on the Ben tour of Cleveland. Like, so tell us like our first day in Cleveland. Just give us an itinerary.
So let me give you a little background about me. First of all, growing up, you know, I grew up in a very
You were in a gang too?
yeah. Well, I can't talk about those parts yet. You know, it's for life. I grew up very much outside the culture as a sheltered Christian. So we
Us
didn't-
too.
Yeah, right. So my life, I didn't really know much about Cleveland outside of the sports world growing up.
But we don't want the 9-year-old Ben tour. We want the adult.
The
Ben
modern,
tour.
well, so I haven't been back since I was 18. I mean, I've been back to visit, but I haven't been back to live or hang out since I was 18. So I would call up a few buddies and have them give us the tour.
Just give us restaurants then. Let's just do like what sites and restaurants. And
I'm going to take you down to Bucci's, that famous Italian restaurant in Berea.
You don't want to go to Il Giardino d'Italia?
Yeah, we got to check that one out on East 9th, right? I think that's what you said.
In Woodland.
Yeah, in Woodland. We're going to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because I've never been there.
Okay.
And that's
This is more for you, not...
That's right.
You don't care about your guests.
Also, on that note, I'm not like, I didn't know this either.
Yeah.
Like David Bowie, super huge, like rock and roll guy. His first US tour started in Cleveland. And the Beatles also played there.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, it must have been like a huge like destination for rock and rollers because, I mean, the Hall of Fame's there and whatever, but a guy like David Bowie to start his tour in Cleveland, that like says a lot about like the city's like culture and like appreciation for music.
Is there a huge music culture there?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, there's roots there. I don't know if it's still there now, but yeah, like we would go down to the Flats. That's where we'd go. I've never been to the Flats, but that's where everybody talks about hanging out. So we go down to the Flats. We get some brews. We listen to some music.
You know, the crazy thing is like Ben, like his like story about how he grew up, grew up his family life, college life, and everything. It's very similar to how we grew up.
Just super sheltered,
really religious, and then like coming in and like seeing and like experience a lot of stuff after you left the house.
Then go wild when you get to college.
Now for me, it was a little bit after college. My college was an extension of my childhood for sure. Yeah, it was a Baptist college in Iowa. It's about as conservative as you can get.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pros and cons for sure.
Pros and cons, yeah. The pros were it helped me focus a lot on basketball. And that was, that's...
But it's interesting because like typically like going through school, it's really difficult to devote a lot of time to sport and education.
Sure.
But then you managed to do 2 sports.
Yeah.
And still find time to go into your studies. And then
I did that one year. It resulted in a torn ACL at the end of the year. So I'm not sure that was the best of choices. But
I think though there is something to that hyper religious upbringing that helps you excel in sports because it just keeps you free from distractions.
Sure.
Phil Jackson, dad was a minister, and that was a huge story. And I mean, just for me and Eric, when I think about some of my dipshit friends that were out selling drugs and partying and stuff, the fact that I wasn't doing that and I was like at Bible camps and all this kind of stuff. It was just that and hoops for me.
Yeah, so. Like the lessons that you learn from sports and religion, they can kind of coalesce in a lot of ways. So one can help the other. There's a lot of parallels between that. And you take that into, I mean, you guys both know this from sports. There's a lot of lessons you can apply to anything in life. That So
then tell us this, like from you playing like sports, at the collegiate level, and obviously we've played quite a bit. So you've played very competitive like sports. What's the biggest takeaway that you've seen from sports that's helped you in your life now?
Yeah. Man, that's a hard one. I feel like my life in Korea and my life in the States are 2 totally different, lives in a sense. But and both like, when you're running suicides in training camp and you're trying to make the team or you're trying to get a starting spot or whatever it is, and you see the coach watching who's going to run, who's going to work hard. And you feel that pain in your stomach and you got nothing left and your legs are, 100 pounds each. You dig deep, right? You got to do it again. You just keep going. And I think I learned this in high school sports, to be honest, and it carried over into college sports. Because, going to a public high school in the Cleveland area, like you're going...
Had to be competitive.
Yeah, for sure. You're going up against the best in your school and then to be able to get a spot and to go against the best around the city. So man, like just being in that fire and learning that you always have another level beyond what you think you have. So just if you don't learn that lesson early in life, that wherever your ceiling is, you actually can go beyond that, then for the rest of your life, you're just going to put that ceiling low and you're never going to push the boundaries and get past that. So
I think about this sometimes because we grew up in a very like religious, pretty Christian like household, and your household seemed like it was pretty similar. Like what we were taught was like to be humble and to not really like, even though you found out in sports that there was an extra level you could go to. It was always the thing where like, hey, look, don't be, too good for your britches, like whatever, stay humble and like don't push too hard. Don't be too happy with what you've accomplished.
Right.
And like, I think in hindsight, like if I didn't have that, maybe I would have pushed harder and maybe I could have been, a top 10 or whatever. But do you think that affected you? Cause I think it affected me probably like in some way. because I look at some of the other guys, like maybe, you know, like I don't know how you were in high school, but I mean, you're a good player. So maybe like athletically, skill wise, maybe it was maybe some mental thing that these kids didn't have that we had.
I definitely think that Eric, if you were cockier, if you had kind of that Nate Robinson mentality, you'd be an NBA player. You would have been like, and that I think, is that what you're kind of getting at? Like, I feel like Eric, your athleticism is like top 5% of the United States in your prime, especially coming out of high school.
Way more than top 5.
Yeah, like jumping from the free throw line at 6'3", or 6'4", something like that. You were like 16. You hadn't even capped out on hype yet, and you jumped from the free throw line, won a dunk contest against all the national talent. So, I mean, we're talking about a crazy athlete. But what I would say is that a lot of the inner city kids that didn't have our upbringing, they had that crazy confidence. You're just like, what? It's even the guys that sucked did.
Sure, man.
Even the guys that never got a scholarship, never probably on JV, but they thought that
it's survival for them.
Yeah. And I think...
And you hear about guys talk about that all the time, like even at the pro level.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't the pressure difficult to handle? Like, bro, I grew up getting shot at. You know, like I had 3 best friends who died before I was the age of 16. Like, this isn't pressure.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I went into when I went to training camp, like because I was thinking about this because you grew up pretty similar to us, and I never really thought about how that might have affected our psyche at that time as like aspiring athletes. You know, because when you're young, you have this dream. You're like, I want to play pro or go to college or whatever it was, and then I remember when I went to training camp with the Kings, like we were sitting at a table, and there were guys that had like been in the league or out of the league trying to get back in. And they were identifying, because I was having a good camp, but I didn't know any of these guys. You know, this guy that had been in the league for 3 years, I had no idea who he was.
Right.
Other guys that like were a rookie last year, I didn't know. And so these guys were like coming at me saying like, yeah, man, you know, if tomorrow in camp, man, you should work on this. The coaches really like that. And I'm looking at them like, why are they giving me advice? Like, I've been killing this guy in camp all day. And then like, all these things, like, you know, like this guy was maybe insecure or he was trying to push someone out of the way, or some other guys like didn't say shit because they were like, man, you know, whatever, like I'm gonna go out there and do my thing because I have nothing's holding me back. Yeah. And I always felt like thinking about it now, like maybe there was like a governor on us where there was something inside us that was like inhibiting us from or prohibiting us from like going to that next level that these guys.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, man.
I don't know.
From my background growing up, I think it's a little bit different. The one thing is my dad. He's I did learn the humility thing in religion, but that kind of came later and in different ways. But my dad was an athlete as well in high school and college, and he loved to talk about the glory days. Loved to talk about his stories all the time, man. So there was not a lot of humility when it came to sports with him. And I think that was a good thing. That kind of instilled like this goal to kind of reach for in sports.
Yeah, your dad was swaggy.
He was a little bit swaggy. Yeah, he thought the U.S. Olympic team was scouting him in college. We can't verify that.
We don't know if they were.
We do not know.
That was 19.
He twisted his knee 11 times that season. We heard
you know what's funny
all
is
the time.
Old people talk about twisting your knee. Now it's like you tore a ligament.
Yeah, right.
They're like, yeah, I sprained my knee. You don't sprain your knee. You do ligament damage.
Yeah. He's probably missing his ACL. We've verified that. Yeah.
But my dad's the same way. He's like, I sprained my knee in college. I was like, sprained my knee.
But I tell you what, man. There's one thing that I think, and I've been thinking through this recently in a different context, but I think there's one thing that religion in America in particular teaches you that could be a disadvantage. It's not a bad thing, but it could be a disadvantage later, which is that you are continually dependent on your community and other humans and your family for support.
That's a great.
So you can't.
I think that's a great thing, though.
It's a great thing because it's a wonderful thing to be in that community. But when you don't develop the skill of living outside of that, and then you're thrust into that environment where nobody cares about you at all, you can't survive.
You're not prepared.
So whether it's a good or a bad thing, like it has consequences. And I think I've learned even this late in my life that, that's a skill that I haven't developed to the same extent as a lot of people I've met from other countries who grew up in much smaller communities and were taught the need to kind of rely on self in every situation and to be perfectly happy to be alone. It's to be comfortable in an environment where everybody's out to kill you and you can still thrive.
It's interesting.
Are you lonely, Ben?
No, but it's interesting because
right now I'm with you, Danny.
It's interesting because if you think about what people typically think of an American, they're like self-reliant, independent, self-motivated, the individual. Right. They champion the individual.
Right.
And then we grew up in America, Americans, but because of this religious, you know, whatever, maybe like for other people it might have been something different, but for us, I think like religion played a huge role in our upbringing. And I think that might have played a big factor in us because we were in this community where like you're relying and depending, and it's a very, like when you're in the community, it's really great because you can ask your brother, you can ask anybody out there that's connected to your church, whether it's Baptist, whatever it may be, and then they're willing to give to you out of the graciousness of their heart, which is a beautiful thing. Yeah. But at the same point in time, it's difficult to grow organically, individually.
It was, you've both seen, remember the Titans, obviously one of the greatest movies of all time. Right. That scene, it's a pivotal scene.
Ryan Gosling.
Well, yeah, it's true. The pivotal scene where the two coaches are talking about Petey and how to coach him. And I was confused the first time I saw it. I didn't understand why this could be racial tension or why this could be, but like the white coach is taking him aside and saying, it's all right, Petey. It's all right, man. I know the head coach is getting in your face, but don't feel bad. You're okay. And then the black coach is saying to him, when you do that, you're taking out his legs. He's never going to learn to stand on his own. If he can't handle criticism, if he can't be strong. And I was like, wow, man.
This is, me and my wife just talked about this last night. There's a Korean show where An Jung-won, who was on the 2002 World Cup team, very famous, he's on one of those family shows where his kid. And
Does he still have great hair?
He's got great hair, man. He's got a little bit of a gut, but he's got a great hair.
Flowing locks.
Dude, the guy, he's got a face like an angel.
Sorry, I digress.
What progress?
Just dive into those eyes. So anyways, it's the same thing. So he keeps saying, the wife's saying, like, you need to show more love to his son. And he's like, I do, but you keep feeding him and he'll never learn how to feed himself because the kid's like 5, right? So he should know how to like use a fork and chop up his chicken and whatnot. And so yeah, me and my wife had a conversation about that because that's kind of on a lower scale, like a lot of the conversations we have. And that is a tough balance. And I'm seeing that now having 2 kids, just like the mix of teaching them how to do something and not taking away their ability to be self-reliant.
Like humans are so simple, man. Like we're complex, but we think about
Speak
things.
For yourself, you fucking
this guy, man. But he's
fucking complex.
we tend to split things into binary terms. What's good and bad. So if you look at a coach, yelling is bad. That's it. And people think that. No, I'm not saying it is. I'm saying people fall into one or two camps often, right? Like you don't yell and you just give positive reinforcement. Or no, positive reinforcement is new age bullshit. You take an old school approach and you yell. But the truth is it's way more complex than that. And
spectrum.
It's not even just a spectrum, it's your motivation too. If you're yelling as a coach because you got an ego and you got something to prove, then you don't have your
Kids
players
see that.
They do, yeah. And they're not motivated to play, but you can yell and you can be tough in a way that is for their benefit. And if they know that and they trust you and in your wisdom, then it can be a good thing. So
I think you were kind of hitting on this earlier. I remember I was talking to my brother earlier about like different like child raising techniques, right? And my brother was talking about, because I don't have any kids. So all this stuff is new. And he was telling me about being a mentor or being a disciplinarian. Yeah. And he was saying that if you're looking at like kids, like young kids especially, are they going to be scared of you? Right. Or do they want to do things because they look up to you? Right. And that's a difficult thing that line to walk as a coach, as an educator, as a mentor, as a friend, like whatever it may be. Yeah. That's a difficult thing to walk. And then as an adult, as a parent, like you're walking that line every day, and then like taking it forward, it's like all those things that you do, whether you go too far to the left or right or walk the line straight, like those have crazy effects.
So do you guys think, each of you, do you think fear is an acceptable or is a good motivation for things in life?
I don't think it's good. I would say like 90% of the time it's not good, but then because everyone's different, some people are motivated by that and achieve their goals because they're scared of whatever. I would say for me, I don't think that's a good motivator for me. And I don't want to use that to motivate, the kids that I coach or my children. But I know that it does motivate people, you know?
Yeah, because I remember we heard this a lot when we were, I'm going to put the fucking fear of God in you. Like you'd hear that shit all the time.
I usually didn't hear the word fucking in front of it, but yeah, I heard that.
I would put the flipping.
And I think a lot of that does come from the Bible because they always use fear. Do you fear God? fear of God. You know what I mean? It's straight out of the Bible.
There's a lot of controversy in theology circles as well about that.
About that.
The Old Testament seems to be pretty heavy on the fear, and the New Testament seems to be pretty heavy on the love.
Well, in our church, and especially when we went to Christian school, when they would say fear of God, they just mean that means faith. That's the Old Testament way of saying faith.
Well, then they put the caveat, well, it's a healthy fear.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and it's complex.
But God's destroying cities in the Old Testament, so yeah, it's a healthy fear.
Fire and brimstone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but there was a reason.
If you would have left that city and joined Israel, you'd have been all good.
But a little nurturing could have got you out of that city too.
Yeah.
Hey.
But fear would have got you out faster.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go.
Pillar of salt.
Yeah.
No, it's a tough thing because if you look back and, you know, like recently I've been thinking about how we grew up and whatnot, and especially now, like, you know, with my brother having like 2 young kids, like we have these kind of conversations more often than we did before.
Right.
And you see like the effect of every single decision, and then, you know, stuff that we didn't think about when we were growing up. We're just like, okay, you know, we operated mostly because we were scared.
Right.
You know, when we were younger, like if we did this, we'd get smacked. You know, so we operated in these lines of not getting smacked.
Right.
You know, and we were good kids because we try our best not to get fucking hit.
Right.
You know? And like that was a very good, you know, I think for that time was pretty normal.
Yeah.
But then now, like seeing how you could become a mentor and actually have a different kind of impact on kids, you know, also being coaches now too. Right. It's different because I remember when I started coaching, I was like, man, you know, these kids, they don't get it, man. You know what? Maybe I just need to fucking, you know, just drop the hammer on these guys and let them know that like this is the law.
Yeah.
You know, you don't do this, okay? There's gonna be consequences.
Right.
You guys want to run lines? Fine. We don't have to play basketball at all.
Sure.
It won't be fun today.
Yeah.
But then is that constructive?
No one signs up for your class.
Yeah.
But I got my point across.
Yeah.
You know, but then it's like, what's the ultimate goal?
That's it.
You know,
that's the question most people don't even ask. Because even like when you're saying about success, right? Fear is a motivator. Michael Jordan was motivated in a sense by fear.
He motivated his teammates through fear.
Yeah, well, and himself too. I think it starts like with proving to others that he can. I mean, you listen to his Hall of Fame speech. It's all about proving himself to everybody. That's a type of fear, right? So it can lead you to success, but then the question is, what is the ultimate goal?
Right?
Is it championships? Is it success? Is it doing things and, you know, checking off boxes? Is it happiness?
I don't think he has a lot of good relationships with the people that he played with.
For a guy like Michael Jordan, I think what he did, what he wanted to accomplish in his sport, it made sense. But then also, like there was an article in the Players Tribune by Ben Gordon, you know, who came out, had a great, you know, all of a sudden came out of nowhere, was like signed like a really big contract and then disappeared. Then he's dealing with mental health issues in and out of the G League, whatever. And then he wrote a thing about, look, what made me a great player didn't prepare me for the rest of life.
Sure. Yeah.
Which, like, in not only in sport but in other aspects as well. Like, what made you a good parent? What made you a good student? What made you a good husband? What made you a good athlete? Whatever. Like, whatever else you do, that might not translate into business. It might not translate.
And we had this conversation the other day. Like, you can go back to even within the context of sports. Are you there to get paid? You there to get fame, to get rings?
Right.
You there to make yourself a better person? You there to enjoy the experience of the party life, to enjoy the team build? There's so many different things, and every person can have a different angle.
I think that's a really poignant thought that I didn't think about when I was a player. When I was a player, I was, you know, I score points to make money, and then I make money, and that was like kind of like my focus. It was pro sports.
Right.
Pro is salary.
So who needs defense, right?
So that was huge. That was huge. But also, like, if I would have just been, I probably would have achieved all of my personal goals and probably still made a lot of money if my goal was different. If my goal was just to self-improvement. I want to be the best player that I want to be. I'm probably going to get that money, and I'm probably going to have better personal growth. I'm probably going to have better relationships with my teammates.
Right.
And our team probably would have won more.
Right.
And I probably would have actually made more money than just my just simple goal of like, I want to make as much money. And I was, you know, we did well and you know, being the highest paid player on your team. But now assume those teams won championships, I would have gotten more bonus money. Sure. My teammates would have loved me more.
So often the personal goal can match with the collective, and they can work in synergy together. Sure. I was just listening to Matthew McConaughey talk about this, where it's often, almost all the time.
Was it a podcast?
It was a podcast.
What podcast?
It was the.
It wasn't our podcast.
I want to know what podcast you listen to.
Yeah, this one is a new one that I haven't listened to much. Marcus Aubrey.
Okay,
that's the name of that one.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a decent one. But no, Joe Rogan, Tim Ferriss, those are the guys I like to listen to a lot.
I'm kind of getting off Joe. Just 'cause,
Oh, yeah.
I've listened to so many of them. He's
Yeah.
great. He's
Yeah.
obviously the best, the GOAT.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to dive into the other. I don't have 3 hours to listen to everything.
Well, you got to put it on 1.5 speed, bro.
Okay.
That's the trick.
There we go.
I can't go back to normal.
Right.
Yeah, but no, like just a lot of times we think it's either me or the team, it's me or the community, it's me or the organization.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's actually short term or long term. That's the play.
Well, I think like people look at guys like Jordan and Kobe and Iverson who are like, look, oh, there's no I in team, but there's a me, or like there's no I in team, but there's an I in win. And like people like make these other ways to look at things and be like, you know what, look, what they did was successful. Okay, what they did was successful, but is that the right model for you and what you want to accomplish? It's not the right model for everything. You can't just take cookie cutter and be like, oh, what Jordan did will work for everything out there.
Well, I'll tell you this too. I think Jordan. This is going to sound ridiculous.
Careful.
Easy.
I think careful.
All right, can I go? I think Jordan was the ultimate team player.
Wait, where the crickets? Where are the crickets?
Yeah. Oh, you got little buttons here. The crickets
Explain. Hold on. Explain.
All right.
They're saying Russell Westbrook is the ultimate team player because he gets assists.
And it's hard to judge him based on like today's
No,
eyes.
let me tell you why. I think Michael Jordan wanted to win. That's it. And first of all, he got in his players' faces, his teammates' faces. He motivated them through fear, sure.
Fear-mongering.
Because he wanted them to be better. He wanted them to be there at the time.
He did.
He took over.
He wanted them to be better for him and his goal.
He wanted them to be better to win.
His goal of winning.
Sure, it's his goal of winning. But when I say ultimate team player, I don't think he was thinking about his stats at all. I think when he went out there and took over a game and scored 20 straight points and took 15 straight shots, whatever, he's doing that because he's looking at his teammates like, y'all can't hack this.
These guys fucking suck.
Okay. So Phil Jackson, I've read 2 of Phil Jackson's books. He would disagree with that statement.
Oh, good. Tell me.
Because he had to actually coax Michael Jordan to say, like, look,
To bind to a team.
if you can buy into the triangle offense,
Yes.
which is a very team-oriented,
Right.
full movement thing.
Right.
Off the
Jordan
ball.
didn't want to do that
Right.
because he wanted to just do his thing.
But-
Phil
but-
Jackson,
but-
it took years
Yes.
for him to get him to buy in.
But the reason was Jordan didn't believe in it. He didn't think the triangle would be successful.
that's part of it. That's
Well,
a big part of it.
That's part of it, but Jordan didn't believe in his teammates.
Right. Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
Jordan was like, look, like, you give me whoever is out
These guys
there.
suck.
Like, but he's got Scottie Pippen, right? Who like ended up being a Hall of Famer.
But he
and
didn't
all
see that
stuff.
until a couple years in, right?
Right. So like
Yeah.
Jordan, like he saw himself and he was like, look, you know what? I can single-handedly like put my hand on this game, right? And I can if I score 50 or whatever. I think you're right. I don't think Jordan was out there trying to get 30 points a game.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't think he led the league in scoring because he was like, I'm going to go out there and do this.
Right.
I think he just did that because he was like, my fucking teammates suck.
I hate losing.
And it wasn't until the
he
end
knows
of his career
yeah.
that he started like trusting Scottie to take bigger shots, trusting Steve Kerr to take a big shot,
Yeah.
trusting John Paxson to take
Way
a big
later,
shot.
way later.
And that was like, if he would have understand more of that earlier, he probably would have had 10 championships.
Jordan was Iverson when he first came in.
yeah, for sure.
No, but see, do you think Iverson, I think he thought about stats, man. I think he thought about his points.
I think Jordan did in the beginning too.
You think so?
Jordan, it's like an evolution. Or are we talking Jordan in his rookie year? Or are we talking Jordan in his last year?
Beginning, because that's what we're saying. He's saying he was like Iverson when he came in. I think he came in, man, and
I'd say like mentality, you're probably right, different, right? I don't think Jordan came in was like, yo, I'm gonna score, like I'm gonna lead league in scoring,
Right.
or whatever, or maybe at that time, maybe it's possible, right? But later, I don't think he was concerned with stats. Whatever happened was like he's like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to win.
yeah.
You know?
Whereas Iverson's saying practice.
I think Iverson, but I think if you would have interviewed Jordan, like the kind of media that was on Iverson later, if it was on Jordan, if you would interview Jordan, he probably would have had some of the same sound bites.
Oh man, I don't know.
Here, okay, so let me. So
You can't practice every day like that.
I know,
we
you're
take
right,
LeBron and put him on that thing, I think when LeBron came in the league, he was looking at what Jordan was doing later in his career. So if you look at LeBron early on, even up till his last years with Cleveland,
Superman.
it was Superman, and
Cleveland,
then
man.
very fear mongering with his teammates. Like somebody does something, you can see it written all over LeBron's face, and everyone's kind of like, "Fuck, LeBron's going to yell at me in the locker room."
No,
Look at LA now.
I'm getting traded.
It's a fucking party in LA, and LeBron's getting better and better because I don't think it's about winning with LeBron. Winning will happen. But LeBron's trying to promote that culture, that team culture. It's a different way to get that result.
But with LeBron, I think this was how he felt before, even went into his first year in LA.
Yeah.
This LeBron that you're seeing now about the culture and about creating this thing is a last year and now.
Oh, no. I think it's...
I agree. But I also think it's because he got his ass whooped so many times by a happy, fun Golden State team that he looked at that and said, me being Superman cannot beat a team where everyone loves each other and everyone's having fun. They're having fun and winning. And they don't have me, and I'm the best player in the world. So if I can be the best player in the world and have that culture that Golden State has,
Game over.
It's game over. And look at and LA's beating people
Time out.
by 30 points and without trying.
Yeah.
Ben just called timeout.
Timeout.
Okay, timeout.
There's at least 3 chapters in LeBron's NBA career. We got Cleveland first, then we go to Miami, back to Cleveland, and maybe 4 with LA. His first chapter in Cleveland, he's all about the team, all about the fun. If you watch him all the way up to the end of 2010 until he just can't get past Boston in the playoffs, he's having way more fun than Golden State ever did, man. He's on the.
So you're saying when Delonte was banging his mom?
When Delonte was banging his mom, he was still somehow finding
he
a
was
way.
like, you know what, this ain't fun no more.
Yeah.
Are you talking about LeBron or his mom? She was definitely having fun wilding out.
He's on the bench having fun, celebrating. He's got, just joking all the time with his teammates. And that was the knock on him. When he goes to Miami, the whole country hates him. And he becomes the villain, and he takes on the dark mentality.
Well, but it was also because the criticism was like, yeah, you're having fun, but you haven't done anything. You're supposed to be the next runner up to the throne, and you're scared to take the last shot. So there was a lot of pressure on him to become a winner like Jordan.
That was in Cleveland even before he left Miami. But he became the villain because everyone's like, you left Cleveland, you sold out your team, and now you're making this super team because you're not strong enough.
I feel like there was a lot of fallout when you left Cleveland as well. People were like, oh, you're too good for Cleveland.
They were burning my jersey in the streets, man.
You think you're going to be better in Korea?
These Ben Spink jerseys, man.
Bro, Clevelanders hate Korea now, man. This is crazy.
I think honestly, even if LeBron would have left in a different way, I think Cleveland would have understood. They would have been angry, but they would have been like, makes sense.
Yeah.
Cleveland sucks. There's no fucking championships here. Our sports culture is back with Jim Brown. Like, there's nothing going on currently. They would have understood.
Yeah.
But the way he left, announcing it and making it like a media spectacle.
Yeah. It was.
I think it's like, of course, like the way, if you leave like that, as passionate as people are in Cleveland about sports, they're gonna get fucking mad.
And they had hopes in him that were like nobody besides Jim Brown.
Because think about this: like he went back, won a championship, right, and then left. People weren't burning his jersey. Why?
Yeah, of course not.
He did the same fucking thing.
Yeah, just
right. But then what was different?
Well, he won. That was a big difference as well.
But he went to the NBA Finals with who? Fucking like Anthony Parker, fucking Anderson Varejao, and a bunch of other no-name nobodies.
Ilgauskas, come on, bro.
Ilgauskas. That's what I'm talking about.
That guy's
a legend.
He's a Hall of Fame first ballot.
He's a legend.
He's one of those guys that you see on those fucking memes where you're like, did you know this guy was an all-star?
He was an all-star.
He was an all-star.
Wait.
1997.
Yeah.
You're lying.
Look it up.
1 year all-star.
Look it up. I believe
he's one of those guys, like one of those like.
Where's he from?
He's from Lithuania.
Yeah, I knew that.
And he had he was drafted by Cleveland. Yeah. Broke both of his feet. One of them twice. Sat out like the first 3 years.
Exactly.
And then now he's a legend, man. Everybody loves him. Everybody knows him in Cleveland too.
Okay, well it's time now.
Okay. How much time? I gotta go pee.
I gotta take a piss too.
All right,
but we can't break for the piss. We have 8 minutes. Everyone just suck it up. I gotta take a piss too.
We're on the clock here.
This is the draft. We're gonna do a snake draft.
We got 8 minutes. We're actually at an hour.
Oh shit! I'm looking at that clock.
No.
All right, guys. Do we have time for my snake draft?
Can we take 30 seconds? No.
We can't do it, man.
All right.
Do
man.
the whole thing again.
All right.
Let's do the draft, man.
It's got to be hard for everybody. We all got to deal with it. Okay.
What's the draft?
Snake draft is apps on your phone. We're going to do 5 rounds, and it's going to go real quick.
5 rounds?
5 rounds. So you got 5 apps. If you take them, I can't take it. Okay.
Oh, that's good. I like this.
Okay. So Ben, start off round 1. Apps, like you get a brand new phone, and you got to start putting apps on it. Go.
I'm gonna go Spotify.
Spotify's your first app.
Yep.
Okay, taken.
Kakao.
Oh God, that's the best one. That's the only one that
Obviously, I need to talk to people.
Okay, and it's coming back to me, so I get 2. Fuck, I don't even have an Instagram. I'm gonna take my navigation app. I'm gonna take Naver Maps.
Oh, that's a good one.
Naver Maps?
Naver Maps. I'm gonna go Gmail because that's.
I guess you're gonna be in Korea forever if you're taking Naver Maps, obviously.
Yeah, I am. That's the only one I use, bro.
They don't even have maps in
Google Maps doesn't work. Apple Maps doesn't work. So fuck it. So I got Naver Maps and I got Gmail. Back to Eric.
Back to me.
Gmail. It's a wasted draft choice.
We'll see how this draft ends up.
I'm gonna go WhatsApp.
Oh, WhatsApp's a good one.
That's
And
off the board, but it's really who does WhatsApp in Korea?
right, but it's your
This is the thing,
lifeline around the globe.
I'm connecting to my friends outside of Korea.
He's trying to develop his global personality.
I think it's a wasted pick. Go ahead, Ben. You got 2.
I got one I really want, but I'm going to save it because I don't think y'all are going to take it for a couple rounds. So I'm keeping that one.
Tinder?
Bank. No. I know that's gone off the board next. All right. Can I look at my phone?
Oh yeah.
All right. I think I'll go Instagram next.
Okay.
And
I deliberately took that off my phone.
And are we? So yep. Podcasts. Does that count or no?
Apple Podcasts.
There's the podcast app.
Okay,
Which
you can
app?
take that.
Is
You
it?
can take that. You got 2.
Is that? I mean,
It is an app.
Seems like a wasted pick. I mean, you have
Very
Spotify.
wasted pick.
yeah. Spotify's only Joe Rogan, man. Everything else is on podcast still.
There you go.
We're on Spotify.
Hey, it's your choice.
So,
Are
okay.
you on Spotify?
Only podcast
I can't
you need.
find you guys.
You got to look harder.
Oh, you got 2. So you took
Yeah.
You took podcast, and then what was the other one?
Instagram.
Okay.
I need it.
Instagram's a solid one. Eric.
I'm gonna go with Google Chrome.
yeah.
Okay, that's your pick. That's your 3rd round pick. I'm going with chess.com because I use that a lot, and I'm going with Coupon.
Chess.com.
Chess.com.
Like to play the game.
Play the game.
Chess.com. Coupon.
Come on, man. You gotta stop. You gotta go to Lee Chess. L-I
We'll talk.
Chess.
We'll talk after. Hey, back to Eric.
All right.
All right. What are we at here? Necessary
Are you
apps.
good at chess?
I'm gonna
Did you play?
A little bit.
Let's
All right, we'll see what's up.
I'm gonna take Bible.com.
yeah, you
funny.
thought he was gonna leave it.
I'm gonna go Netflix.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
But I got that on my iPad. So
Go ahead.
I'm set.
Yeah.
We're allowed to keep the other ones on the iPad, right?
You only got
well,
one.
you can't.
This is your last pick, right?
Oh, this is it.
Is
It's
it?
for all the marbles.
All the marbles.
All right, I'm going Audible.
Oh, Audible? What's that? You called an Audible? Or
What is that? You're saying what is the app? Audible.
You called an Audible, or that's the actual app?
Bro, you know what Audible is?
Fucking don't care.
Come
Go ahead.
on, you
Tell me
don't
what it is.
care.
What is it?
Anybody who
Auto-tunes?
cares. So you don't care about books is what you're trying to say, basically.
Fuck. I should've done that.
Yeah, I kept that one in the bank.
All right. Well, hey, it's time to go get tacos, guys.
It is.
Some tacos.
Fucking Ben.
Ben,
We
appreciate
need you
it, man.
as a recurring guest.
Hey,
do.
I'm down. Can I introduce the podcast every time?
Yes, you can. Yes, absolutely.
Sick. I'm in. Sign me up.
Ben, thank you. And look, this was a great time, and hopefully we'll have you on again. And we got to go fucking take a piss, so we got to cut this short.
I think Ben, you turned our podcast into mayhem. This is the most not organized podcast we've
Yeah, thanks
had.
a lot, Ben.
There's beauty in chaos, and I will leave you with that.
I agree. That's a Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park. All right. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.
FaceTwo out.